Hey everyone, welcome to today's lesson about arithmetic sequences. This is basically a very fancy term for a set of numbers where you keep on adding the same thing over to get the next number. Okay, so 1 plus the 3, 1 plus 3 gives you 4, 4 plus 3 gives you 7, 7 plus 3 gives you 10, and so on. Okay, and you can keep on going with this and you add a 3, and here you get 16 and 19, and so on and so forth. Okay, so again, the key most important thing that makes an arithmetic sequence is that you keep on adding the same thing over and over. Okay, here is also an arithmetic sequence because you're technically adding a -2. You can think of it as 5 minus 2 equals 3, 3 minus 2 is 1. That's fine. I like to think of it as, so we can keep the same definition of adding. We add a -2. 3 plus -2 gives you 1. 1 plus -2 gives you -1. 1 plus -2 gives you -3. Okay, remember, there's a plus and a minus next to each other. It's basically a big fat minus. Okay, so you can think of it as 5 minus 2, 3 minus 2. That's fine. I don't care. But just so I can stay consistent with the adding feature of arithmetic sequence, I like to think of it as 5 plus -2, 3 plus -2. Okay, and remember, when there's a plus and a minus next to each other, it becomes a big fat minus. Okay, so here we're going to determine whether or not each sequence is an arithmetic sequence. Okay, I'm gonna go with one. I'm gonna go with this first, second, and third. Okay, I don't know if I'm gonna go over this example. Here, if you look at it, okay, you are adding 3 to get to each. You are adding 3 to get to each one. Okay, so this is how you test it out. Let's do 8 minus 5. That equals to 3. Okay, so we're going to add 3. Okay, let's see if it's the same thing. Okay, let's do 11 minus 8. We also get 3. Okay, let's try 14 minus 11. That also equals to 3. So each time you are adding 3, so it is an arithmetic sequence. Okay, so this is an arithmetic sequence. I'm gonna abbreviate it. Okay, now let's look at this guy right here, number 4. Okay, let's do the same thing. Okay, let's do 7 minus 9. You get -2. Okay, so minus 2. Let's go with 5 minus 7. Okay. Five minus 7 is going to equal to -2 also. Okay. And so this is -2 also. And let's go ahead and try 3 minus 5. Okay, this equals to -2. Okay, so each time we're doing each time it's the same number over here, so therefore it is an arithmetic sequence. Okay, it is an arithmetic sequence. So when is it not an arithmetic sequence? Okay, it's not an arithmetic sequence when you don't It's not an arithmetic sequence when these numbers don't match. Okay? I actually do want to go over this one right here. Okay? All right, so now let's go ahead and look right here. Let's go ahead and look right here. -2 minus -7. There's going to be a double negative here, which makes a positive. -2 plus 7, you can put in your calculator, you get 5. Okay. For the red, okay, so this is going to be plus 5. For the red, we're going to get 3 minus -2 equals to 5. Remember, double negative becomes a plus, so that event essentially is 3 plus 2. And so that's a plus 5. Okay, and let's do one more here. This is going to also be plus 5 because 8 minus 3 is going to equal to 5. So this is an arithmetic sequence here. Okay, is an arithmetic sequence. Now, let's look at this fourth one real quick. All right, 3 minus 0 is 3. So I'm going to add 3 here. Okay, 5 minus 3, however, it's 2. So already we do not have a match here. We do not have a match. So right away, this 3 does not match the 2, so therefore it's not, okay, is not arithmetic sequence. Okay, so remember, if they match each time, then it is an arithmetic sequence. If it's not a match like this, it's not an arithmetic sequence. Okay, and remember, you're always subtracting the second from the first. Okay, or the next number from the previous number. Okay, and sometimes you're going to have a double negative. Okay, you're going to have a double negative, like in this. Okay, all right, and so let me write that down. Subtract next number from previous number. Okay? Subtract next number from previous number. That is the key. Okay? All right. Now let's look at this example right here. Okay? Find a 10th term in the sequence. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and draw out 10 terms here. 1, 2, 3, 10 spaces, I should say. Okay? And this means the third number. This is the 6th number. Okay? So the third number, they say, is going to be -5. Okay? The 6th number is going to be 16. Okay? So we're going to call this, we're going to add a number each time, okay, to get to 16. And we're going to find out what that number is. I'm going to call that number D. Okay? D. All right? So we have to add the same number 3 times to get to 16. Okay? And remember that how I place this is this -5 is from here, and the 16 is from here. Okay? Give me 1 second, folks. Okay? So I'm going to go negative 5 I'm going to write negative 5 plus d plus d plus d equals to 16. Okay, so that's going to be your equation. All right, so now you're going to get negative 5 plus 3d equals to 16. Okay, so the whole key is to find out what this d is. Okay, so we're going to add 5 to both sides, cross that off, add 5 to both sides, and now we're going to get 3d equals to 21 and divide it, and okay, so we are adding, so the thing is, so what we're trying to find over here is that we're adding 7 to both, we're adding 7 to both, to each, we're adding 7 each time. Okay, so that's what we just solved for. Okay, we're adding 7 to each time. 7 equals to 7 equals to 7. So we're gonna, so now remember, our end goal is to find the 10th term. We're trying to find the 10th term. Okay, so we're gonna add d. Okay, so we're gonna add 7, add 7, add 7, and add 7. Okay, so 16 plus 7 plus 7 plus 7 plus 7, okay, is going to be 44. Okay, so your final answer here is going to be 44. Okay, so remember, the big picture is that we draw 10 spaces. The third, we put negative 5 in the third space, 16 in the 6 points in the 6th place. Okay, and then we have to add d, and remember, we're trying to find d. Okay, we're trying to find d, which is the number they add to get to each space. So there's 3, we have to add d 3 times to get from negative 5 to 16. Okay, so add d, add d, add d to get 16. That's how I got this equation here. Okay, so negative 5 plus, and then we just combine like terms here. Okay, divide by 3 and we get 7. So we found out that we're adding 7 each time to get to the next number. And then, so once you get that, that's the hardest part. Now you do 16 plus 7 plus 7 plus 7 plus 7 to get to the 14. Okay. Okay, last example is right here. Find 4 arithmetic means in between 10 and negative 30. This is actually maybe even easier than the previous example. So 4 arithmetic means just basically means 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, there's 4 spaces. Okay, 4 arithmetic means. All right, and we are going to add d. Okay, add d, add d, add d, and add d. So even though there's 4 spaces, you're adding 5d, you're adding d's 5 times. Okay, all right, 10 plus d plus d plus d plus d plus d equals to negative 30. Okay, so I'm actually going to, let's see, give me 1 second. Let's see if I could move this downwards here. Perfect. I'll move that downwards. And okay, so here we're going to get 10 plus 5d equals to negative 30. Again, same deal as before. I just combine like terms, by the way, to get to that 5d. Now I'm minus 10, okay, and 5d equals to negative 40, and d equals to negative 8 after dividing by 5. Okay, so this is going to basically equal to, so we're basically going to add negative 8 each time. Okay, so I'm going to go like this. I'm basically going to add negative 8, add negative 8, add negative 8, add negative 8, and add negative 8. And remember, a plus and a minus next to each other just basically means a big fat negative. Okay, so it just means a big fat minus. Okay, if you wanted to just go to the shortcut and just write a big fat minus to match it up here, that's fine with me. Okay, so 10 minus 8, here is the final part, and then we're done. Okay, 10 minus 8 is going to be 2. Okay, 2 minus 8 is going to be negative 6. 6 minus 8 is going to be negative 14. 14 minus 8 is going to be negative 22. Okay. All right. So just to give you a heads up, I did 10 minus 8 gives you 2. And then I did 2 minus 8, and that gave you negative 6. And then negative 6 minus 8, negative 14, and so on and so forth. I kept going. Okay. So let's recap over here. 4 arithmetic means that we put 4 spaces here. Okay, and then I just link up and I just add the d's in between. Add d, add d, add d, add d, add d. Okay, so I got 10. Okay, 10 plus d. Okay, and that's how I got that. All right, and then I just combine like terms. 5d's becomes 5d, as you would think, minus 10 from both sides. Okay, and then divide by 5, and d is negative 8. That is the hardest part. And again, so I'm adding negative 8, adding negative 8, all for all these d's, which basically means minus, 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 minus. 10 minus 8, 10 minus 8 is 2. Okay. 10 minus 8 is 2. And, okay, 2 minus 8 is negative 6. Negative 6 minus 8 is negative 14, and that's it. Okay. All right, folks, and that wraps up today's lesson. Thank you very much for tuning in.